What's going on, everybody? It's North Carolina Shooter. This rifle here is a Remington 550-1. I did a video on one of these rifles a little while back. Got it in to do some work and put out a video showing the owner that it was firing. But now I've got another one. This is a different rifle from a different owner. It's having some issues, and I wanted to put out a quick video because some of the issues I'm seeing with this rifle were also the same issues I was seeing with that original rifle I very first worked on. I had never really messed with these until that first one, but I'm starting to see a little bit of a pattern here. So I'm going to give you a few ideas on some things you can do to keep these rifles functioning, and show things to do to keep these rifles functioning and make sure they'll last you a long time. Okay. Now, the common knowledge on a semi-automatic 22 rifle is that you shoot your 22 long rifle ammo, CCIs work great, the bulk stuff, you might get some inconsistencies, blah, blah, blah. Well, this rifle here, the Remington 550, it's chambered to shoot the shorts, longs, or the long rifles, and it is semi-automatic. Now, there's a reason that it can shoot shorts and the other ones can't. It has a floating chamber. Where the round sits inside the chamber, the entire mouth of that chamber floats back and forth. Okay, what that allows is the correct pressures for the 22 short to bring the action back. Without that floating chamber, it wouldn't be able to do that. It just wouldn't. I mean, take your 10-22 and load it up with some shorts and see what happens. There's not enough pressure there to bring the slide back. Well, this rifle here will reliably fire 22 shorts as long as your chamber can float. Now, I see that a lot of these rifles, people, like I say, common knowledge, they don't think these things will shoot shorts. They don't really look on the barrel and see that it's actually chambered for that. And if you don't know about the floating chamber, you wouldn't really know that it could shoot shorts. But you shoot 22 long rifle ammo out of it for years and years and years, and what happens is the floating chamber actually sticks and is not allowed to float anymore and starts causing you issues. You can get in there. I like to use, if I can find my tool here, I like to use my little dentist pick here. Works really good. I pull the bolt out of the rifle, I reach in there, put some oil on that chamber, and just slide it back and forth and work some of the gunk out of it, get it good and oiled up, and then I take it out and I actually shoot some shorts out of it, because when you're firing the shorts is when it really needs to move the most, and firing those will allow it to move and will work some of the gunk out during the firing process. Now, with the long rifle, it does move a little bit, but not much. It will stick if you only shoot long rifles out of this gun. Now, as long as you keep it oiled, I think you'd be alright, but let's be honest here. Most people grab these old rifles, they put them in a corner, they sit up for years until the neighbor kid or the nephew down the road decides he wants to shoot his first 22, then they're drug out and fired. That's when you see your issues. So, floating chamber, that's one thing to keep an eye on. Now, another thing is this screw here. Now, the purpose of this is underneath this screw is a cup and a spring that actually pushes, well, actually, it's going to be up on the sear, but from this angle it looks like it's going to be pushing down on the sear. What that does is reset the firing pin. When the action comes back, the spring pushes the sear up, catches the firing pin, and you're ready to fire again. I'm not going to dry fire it because it's a 22, but you're ready to fire again. Now, these threads on this receiver will get boogered up real quick. The first rifle I got in had the same exact issues. If you look at that screw, see how crooked it is? It is not straight at all. But that right there is the only way it's going to go in there and hold without me rethreading the receiver and resizing the bolt. And the owner just wants the gun to fire, so I'm going to make it fire. And right now it fires super reliably. I've got this tightened down. I actually lengthened the spring just by a hair to give it a little more pressure to push on the sear. So that's one thing, my honest opinion is leave that alone, because you will, and I guarantee you, unless you are very, very, very careful, you will strip your threads without even realizing it. Threads are so fine on this receiver, and this is pretty soft metal, it really is. We're just talking about a 22 here. It'll booger them threads up, trust me. This is the second rifle that I've had in here in the last 6 months with the same exact issue. After I got the chamber floating, the rifle still wouldn't cycle anything. So I broke everything down and found that this didn't, it was so crooked, the spring wasn't even sitting in its cup to push on the sear. It was just sitting out at an angle, pushing on nothing. So you could turn the rifle upside down and fire it because the sear would fall and catch onto the hammer. But when you turned the rifle right side up and fired it, the sear, you know, was falling away from the hammer, falling down, so it weren't catching. So I redid that. Now the gun's shooting great. Had some extractor issues. This is something else I seen on the old rifle, the first rifle I mean. When this bolt face beats on this chamber, after so many years of it beating and beating and beating on this chamber, the groove that the extractor sits into had deformed and was pinching, literally just squeezing the extractor, and it was not allowing it to operate normally. It couldn't move. The plunger and spring were in good shape. I removed all of it, cleaned it, they were in good shape, but because the bolt was literally pinching that extractor, it was not allowing it to grab the shell and remove it from the chamber. But I took a little bit of needle file, a little bit of time, some elbow grease, got that worked out. Now she is firing beautifully. These are very reliable rifles when they're looked after and maintained. The fact that they'll fire the 22 shorts is something I really enjoy. I'm trying to find me one of these rifles. I'm getting plenty of them in to work on, but nobody wants to sell me one. So maybe I'll find me one here soon. But that's the Remington 550-1. Wanted to put that out there, so if you've got one and you're having some issues, that'll give you an idea of some things to look for. Keep that chamber floating. Don't mess with that screw and that sear cup spring, and you should be good to go. But that's it, guys. Quick little video. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I believe I'm going to go outside and fire it a few more times before the owner gets it. Alright, we'll see you on the next one.